Welcome to another video, A Walk with Phil, and I'm in West Bromwich, and today I'm looking for Walsall Street. Walsall Street was a very important link road with at least 9 roads branching off it back in its heyday, but Walsall Street has just a tiny fraction of it left. A lot of changes around here, as you can imagine. Let's see what we can find. So I'm going to start the journey of tracking down Walsall Street from here in Bull Street. Bull Street, I'm just pan you over where all that graffiti nonsense is at the moment on all those boards. That cost a few £1,000. But through those boards, beyond those boards, used to be the multi-storey car park, and just through the boards there used to be a street called Pitt Street. And just on this corner of Pitt Street and Bull Street would have been a pub called the Open Anchor, and that pub closed in 1969 when they developed all the roads. There was a fair few pubs that got fetched down in 1969. We're on this very busy junction now because we've got Overend Street just up there. There used to be a pub up there called the Plough. I don't know if anybody remembers it. Closed in 1975. Herbert Street, where Madeleine Carroll was born, the famous film star of the 1930s. Her house is still up there. And just on the corner here is the used to be the White Hart Inn, then the Drunken Duck. It also used to be the changing rooms back in the day when West Bromwich Albion used to play at the top of Herbert Street near the park, Cooper's Hill. I did a video on that if you want to check that one out. But now you can see it's the Tiny Tots Academy, and you can see the street sign that says Walsall Street, and that's where our journey begins. Yeah, Walsall Street, as I said earlier, was a very, very busy road, very busy link road, with at least 9 roads branching off it. To my right there, we've got quite a bit of an eyesore. I did make a film about eyesore buildings of West Bromwich, and that's one of them, this church here, which I think it's crazy how long that's been like that. Okay, and now we have hit Reform Street, and this is where the roads now diverge. This is the first road that branched off Walsall Street. Reform Street carries on when it used to carry on straight on up. Try and keep the path of Walsall Street if I can. The Globe closed as a traditional pub in 2001, but it was also the home of the Pigeon Club, I believe. See how far it goes back. Okay, so what we're going to try and do now is attempt to follow the line of Walsall Street. We climb the bank, and we're on the car park. This is where Walsall Street would have been. You can imagine now there's a lot of changes now, so trying to find out exactly where it runs is always going to be a bit of a task in itself, but so far I think we're on the right track, I think. So just up there is Reform Street, it just goes over the expressway, and of course the expressway is guilty of a lot of demolition. Whole rows of houses and whole roads and streets disappeared. Okay, so here I'm just thinking, can I get across here? Yeah, I think I can. I'm going to try and link up obviously with Queen Street, which would have been coming from my left very soon. And so Walsall Street is still ahead of us. We're joining now with a modern road called Congregation Way. There's some part of Walsall Street on here We're now on Walsall Street, and if you look ahead, this is where Queen Street would more than likely have exited now onto Walsall Street here. Just on the corner of Queen Street would have been a Theatre Royal. I don't know if many people would have known of them Theatre Royal, as it was one of those old buildings that opened in around about 1870 but closed in the 1940s, and then it became a furniture warehouse. I'm not sure when it got demolished. If I just pan you around and look at this Lego type structure here on this car park, and if we look across the noisy expressway, and if we look ahead as to where that bush is there, this used to more or less be the road called Messenger Lane. Messenger Lane in its day was the main road off Walsall Street to the entrance of Dartmouth Park. So it would sort of cut through in a diagonal way, just past that bush there. There's absolutely nothing left of Messenger Lane now. And if I come across here a little bit further, you know, we can see the main entrance to Dartmouth Park, and is now ahead here, and it was in about the 1920s, I believe, and New Street was extended, so Messenger Lane was no longer the road they would have used to get to Dartmouth Park. It would have been New Street, and main New Street would have cut through here again, through this car park, this multi-storey car park here. It would have gone through there, and up there in New Street. There is a part of New Street still left, not much of it though, to be fair. It would have been the old Dickens Sport Shop is still standing, and the Sandwell pub on the corner, and that's about all I know really. That's just down there, except in that New Street did have the new bus station in its day. But now that moved to a new location, and in its place was the art centre, or the public. It's now a sixth form college. What we're going to try and do now, try to establish where Alfred Street is. Now you see with this entrance here off Walsall Street, just there, that was Alfred Street. And but this is changed now, because we're now coming off this Congregation Way. Congregation Way just up there provided some part of Walsall Street, but now we're on this particular part now. Ahead of us is the part ahead of us now. This is Walsall Street now ahead of me, and if we pan the camera over, we can see this road here. That would have been Alfred Street. And Alfred Street would have gone up and left onto New Street. Just around about here somewhere, that would have been the pub called the Roebuck Inn. Just where those pedestrian lights are, that would have been another road onto Walsall Street called Colley Street. It was here now that Walsall Street began to turn to its right and follow a path just through this gap here, where you can see these trees here, and you can see the block of flats. That's where Walsall Street would have turned and made its way over to that side of the road. Between Alfred Street and Colley Street there was the Albion Spring Works, if anybody remembers those. And Newby's Iron Founders was just beyond there. And what we're going to do now is to get to the rest of Walsall Street, is to cross this walk bridge. But as you can see, that when we began Walsall Street, that was that small amount of Walsall Street that all that remained. And the path I'm following is now was where Walsall Street used to be. Messenger Lane is completely obliterated now, but that would also have a pub on the corner, which was the Hen and Chickens. Again, that closed in 1969. Right, just where this pedestrian walkway is, this bridge, just where this walkway bridge, there would have been a connecting access path to the school, which was here. There was a school just here, and some of it would have been where the expressway is, so a lot of it got demolished when that road cut through. All I can see what remained of the school is this wall at the back here, where it's got graffiti on it. That looks like an original wall from the days when the school used to be here. That's where we crossed the bridge just over there, and coming towards me is Walsall Street, and this is where we are now. Walsall Street would be through this, would be through here. This is the last bit of Walsall Street, and it is actually now called Walsall Street. We've got one or two very old terrace properties around here as well, which is nice to see in a way. It's a reminder of old West Bromwich. And here's what is another one of the roads that branched off Walsall Street. It's called Summer Street. Summer Street used to go straight up there and turn left and would join Taylor's Lane. I don't think it does that anymore. St Mary's House is the name of this high rise. And this is two roads now that are going to branch off Walsall Street. And these were very, very busy roads before expressways were invented. This is Taylor's Lane, and Taylor's Lane, just on the left there was Grant's Bakery, which is a very famous bakery back in the day. And the other road that branched off Walsall Street is this one. It's called Sandwell Road North, but it was back right until the 60s. It was Sandwell Road, which would then lead you onto the High Street. This is where Walsall Street sadly ends, and we've got Stony Lane now ahead of us. I will have a look. I will have a look down there a bit, but I've not been up here before, up Sandwell Road North. We can see some old terrace properties here. Again, some of these very old ones, dating from around the 1890s possibly, because of the doors leading straight onto the pavements. So it's extraordinary. There are still plenty of these terrace properties that didn't get done away with when it come to Maslum clearance and that sort of thing. To my right now, this is where Thomas Withers, the safe makers, would have been, just on this corner. Sandwell Road ends here, and well, Sandwell Road North ends here now, but this would have been, through here would have been the road itself that would have continued across this busy expressway. And as you can see, where the headquarters to the West Bromwich Building Society is, it's just around there where this particular road would have joined Sandwell Road. So Sandwell Road North ends here, and now we're on Grafton Road. Grafton Road was built in around the mid-20s, 1930s, I think. Just take you along here, as we haven't been down here before. Very tree lined along here as well. Guess what the car is underneath here? Guess the car. No, don't know. Well, if you didn't name that car, can you name this one? I don't know. Again. Okay, we've got Sheridan Street here. See Sheridan Street, that leads on to LYNDON, I believe. And ahead of us we've got another busy road. It's called All Saints Way. Used to be called Scott Street back in the day, but I did a video along there called the All Saints Way, the road that would take you to Churchfield School. We got Graham Road down there, but that's a no-through road now. I think it always was, actually. It's a Nubian Lock Studio. Looks like a hair salon. Because Grafton Road is a fairly new sort of road in terms of it being built in around the 20s, 30s. Hargate Lane would have come across here, crossed Scott Street, and it would have continued down to LYNDON. Now here is the Grafton Road stores. General store, seem to have got most things. Looks tidier than the stores that you see in the high street of West Brom. Oh look, we've got a Barber's. Amazing, I didn't even see that one. That one crept up on me unexpectedly. Look here, here's a phone box. You know, when I was a kid and I used to go to Churchfield School, I used this phone box. It was probably a red one back then, but it doesn't work. Look, you can see it's no, it's all at it now. Look, the wires are sticking out. Somebody's tried to get the money out the bottom. Yeah, it's all rusty. And a sign there saying no smoking. That's sad. Sad to see. Anyway, this is Grafton Road, but we're still going to be... This was Hargate Lane, so let's carry on down here. We've got a business here called Goodrich Milfords. All their funeral directors. I think there's a funeral directors there. Building here called Clonmore Plant. Groundworks and plant hire. And Lord Engineering next to that. So there's one or two businesses along here which I wasn't aware of. Yeah, there's another one here called National Spring Company. West Bromwich renowned for springs, spring manufacturers. We've had a fair few over the years in West Bromwich. Just here on my left where all these new houses are, that used to be part of Kenrick and Jefferson. It was their envelope division. Just take a look to the gate because you can see still some of the original walling at the back. See some of the original walling of the envelope division factory that was here on this corner. Ahead of us is this huge hospital that we have. Used to be Sandwell Hospital, but I forget the name of it these days. But it's a hospital anyway. There's Hargate Lane. Would have ended here. It's now called Grafton Road, but Hargate Lane it used to be would end here. And this now officially is called LYNDON, this particular stretch of road. And but back in the 30s, or I don't know when it's actually changed, but in the 30s it was called LYNDON Street. The Jolly Nailer here, Jolly Nailer pub here, that was built in 1818. finally hit the buffers in about 2014 and now converted into flats. That's sad. Wonderful old pub that was. Okay, so I'll just take you up here where we will conclude our walk. Walsall Street was a bit of a mare to find. I think we've had a good go. And if any one of you remember all those roads that branched off it, Messenger Lane, there was two lots of New Street, left and right, have now gone. Messenger Lane has disappeared. We've got College Street that has gone. Alfred Street disappeared, and most of Walsall Street itself has gone. And Queen Street as well does not exist. Talking of which, we've got the Queen's Head that used to be just on the corner here. Now it houses, townhouses. And we're finally finishing here at this wonderful Purl Well. Look at the water that's pouring out of here, eh? Just can't get to it, look. Trying to get my fingers to it, just can't reach it. And it's proper welded solid, this cage. I would bet you money there's absolutely nothing wrong with this water. This served the very earliest inhabitants of West Bromwich, and the plaque says the Purl Well, presented by Alderman J.J. Grant JP. He was the famous baker, and he was the alderman to the town of West Bromwich in May 1956. The original water supply of LYNDON from time immemorial, a hollow tree trunk lining the well, is filled by an ancient spring of soft water. This was not the actual original plaque. It's been restored. It was restored in 2022. They had a bit of a photographic ceremony around here. A few bigwigs had their pictures took around here, and it was in local newspapers. And it was all very well received. Some dignitaries were standing around here. I remember all this bench work here is still here. You can see, look, there's one of the planks of wood that's coming out from the seating area now. So that needs repairing. It's getting weathered now. And just look at the state of around the Purl Well itself. We've got all these weeds growing in between the paving slabs, and they're not just small weeds either, they're huge, and it really is an eyesore, to be fair, around the Purl Well. It's not a very pleasant sight at all. And just underneath the bench as well, you've got loads and loads of cigarette butts all lying under there, as you can see. Needs a lot of weeding as well. Under the bench, weeding all the way, and the paving area. It was said that Oliver Cromwell came here with his horses. Yeah. And just one more thing about the water. I suspect it's very fresh, very clean. I know they said it was polluted, and that's why they put the cage. But I think it's because of a lot of people were coming here, filling up barrels and bottles for the beer making and taking it home for drinking water, and they was coming here all times of the day and night, and I think the residents got a little bit fed up of the noise that they were making, and I think that's probably the main reason why it was caged and padlocked. It was a shame, really. Anyway, we'll leave it at that, and yep, we've now finished our walk along what was left of Walsall Street. Trying to find Walsall Street is almost impossible, isn't it? As well as all the other streets that used to run from it, such as Queen Street, and there's Queen Street, there was Alfred Street, there was College Street. Those three names have been lost, so it's more or less Messenger Lane. New Street has been cut in half. There's just all those famous roads gone. There's Loveday Street as well, which we didn't see. That was another one that's sadly disappeared. And we've got all those wonderful pubs, cinemas and theatres that of course disappeared, and many shops that many of you remember from way back when. The town itself has to reinvent itself. It has to move with the times, but I don't know if we can say that the wheels of progress are slow, but so slow in fact that the town seems to be going backwards. It's looking more neglected and more run down, but sadly, hopefully things will improve. But anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button and also hit subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.